All right, we are now joined by running back for the Southeastern Lions, Carlos Washington Jr. I guess I still get to introduce you as a running back for Southeastern because I don't know what else to call you. But I appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. All right, so let's get into it, man. One season in Hammond, but let's talk about before Hammond a little bit. You start your career at New Hampshire, a great FCS program. Let's talk about, and then we'll get into your career at Southeastern, just your recruiting process out of high school, the schools you were looking at, and then how you ended up at New Hampshire, because that's not near where you're from either.
No, New Hampshire is actually 8 hours away from Maryland, from where I live. Yeah.
So how'd you end up there?
Right. So coming out of high school, my junior season, I only played the last 2 games of my junior year, really, because I had a high ankle sprain and I was in the process of transferring high schools and that. So to be honest, going into my senior season, I was getting all of my recruiting based off of 2 games of junior year. So I was obviously grateful of that. But schools just wanted to see what I did my senior year. So I ended up finishing out, I think, like around 1,500 rushing yards. I had 20 touchdowns. And I had all Washington Post, honorable mention, all of that. But actually coming out, I had New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Hampton. Hampton was my first.
Okay.
But I went to my New Hampshire official visit first. I went up there and it was already, a winning culture. Their running back was leaving. He was a senior. So, I obviously knew that, wherever I ended up going, I was going to have to work for it. But I just felt, I could see myself in that situation. So I ended up actually committing on my visit. So,
okay.
Yeah, that went all good. Then, winning freshman year, that was the learning year, red shirting, just adjusting to college in general, being away from home, just everything factor into it. So during my red shirt year, I definitely, just sat back. Well, I had to sit back, obviously, but took another step back from the game to see it from another perspective. So when it was my time, then it was going to be my time. So, redshirt freshman year, ended up, doing a couple little things, continued to progress over the years. And, after the season, my head coach retired. And, so I went home, had a conversation with my family, and I just felt as though it was best for me to put myself in another situation, just to make myself uncomfortable my senior year so I can be laser focused on, on the mission. And so that's when I decided, into the transfer portal. I had conversations with a few other schools. It came down to Southeastern and Rhode Island again.
Okay.
So actually my Southeastern official visit was the second weekend in January. And then the following Monday or Tuesday, Rhode Island was supposed to come down to my house in Maryland. So, I came on my visit, seeing everything, talk with Coach Selfo, talk with Stevens, talk with Coach Foray, pretty much the whole staff, just to get an idea. We discussed not really the vision, but, what would the plans be if I were to come here, how would I be in? They would, allow me to be in the situations to make the plays that I can make, just to showcase all my talents, really, just to show that I'm an all-around back,
Yeah. So,
yeah, I loved everything about that. And I never actually been down to the South at all. So I was like, I'm going to just put all my eggs in one basket and we're just going to go for it. So, my mom was all in with it. And, yeah, I'm glad I made that decision. Spring ball, that was a little adjusting period, but that's
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, you talk about being comfortable or comfortable being uncomfortable. You go 8 hours from home in your first stop, and then you come even further. So is it safe to say that's something that, a lot of college kids, let alone student athletes, are uncomfortable doing. It feels like that's something that's almost a benefit to you. You've been so far away, now that your entire career.
Right. Yeah. That's why coming down here was no problem for me because I was already away from home. So, obviously it's a few more hours away from home, but it's no different. Being down here is actually football all day long, every day long.
Right.
So I was busy every day, so I didn't even have any time to think about that.
Yeah. So, and we were talking before, you've already graduated. So did you come into the season already graduated?
Yes, I came in as a grad transfer.
So what is the difference between being a student athlete and then just a grad transfer? Getting to focus more on football. How has that changed things?
Um, to be honest, I use that a lot to my benefit, to just take this season. Obviously, I had to take some classes, so I had to handle my
Right.
business loads, but it wasn't as time consuming. So I was able to, kind of honestly, put myself like on a pro schedule in a way because that's where I want to be. So I might as well, get started in that way and, just get adapted to that way of life. So that's when I took the time, to adjust my schedule and, just to, try to be consistent with my routine.
And then what's your degree in?
I had a degree in sports management.
Awesome. So what is the goal for you then?
Well, the number one goal is, the NFL.
Right.
But after my playing days, I want to go into coaching. I'm not sure whether like on the
Awesome.
college or high school level. Probably more so on the high school level, so that I can, reach the youth a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just pour into them.
Yeah. Awesome, man. So you said you'd never been to Louisiana before. What was your familiarity with Southeastern? Did you have any familiarity with it or any knowledge of it before you came to visit?
Right. Well, obviously, playing FCS football, I've heard about Southeastern before. Funny, when I was at New Hampshire, we were watching film one day and we were going over a specific play and they ran it against Southeastern in the playoffs.
In the playoffs,
Yeah,
yeah.
like 2015 or something like that.
Right.
So it was kind of cool to, have that, full circle moment. But yeah, it's
So my question, I mean, not a lot of especially grad transfer running backs with the offense that Southeastern had run for, 2 or 3 years, not a lot of touches for running backs, in those 2 to 3
right.
years. So
Right.
you were taking a risk coming here, man.
Definitely. When I was on my visit, the coaches just were stressing to me not stressing to me, but making it a point that going into this next season, they wanted to, establish a run game and with also establishing the run game, still, running Southeastern offense. So
Yeah.
I was all in that because obviously I love to run the ball, but I like to catch the ball, I like to block, just to be all around the field doing whatever, whatever it takes to win. So, once I heard the vision and, seen, the plays, what type of plays and how I would be fitting to the offense and stuff like that, like we ended up implementing, Wildcat for me.
Yeah.
Actually really successful. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, Coach Stevens, he's a mastermind. He's going to put you in a position to make plays.
Yeah. And he's done it, in every season he's been here now. What does a recruiting visit look like? Like you said, you came in the winter. What does a football recruiting visit look like in the winter as opposed to, during the season, you get a game day visit? That has to be different.
I would say the only difference is, it's just more personable. Game day, coaches, they're going to talk to you real quick, before the game, talk to you real quick after the game, but official visits and those type of visits is more personable because they can actually get to know who you are. You can get to know who they are. Y'all can discuss whatever you need to discuss about your process. But yeah, I would definitely say for the younger guys, obviously appreciate your game day visits, but the official visits, that's where you're really going to find out where you and that school is at.
Yeah. So getting into your 1 year in Hammond, I'm going to ask you some questions about Hammond, the important stuff, man. What is your favorite restaurant in Hammond?
Ooh, that's honestly tough.
It is tough. That's what I told you. I was going to ask the tough questions.
Yeah. Okay. I'm hands down. My favorite restaurant in Hammond has to be Tacos and Beer. The tacos,
All right.
the quesadillas, the DUI fries, man. Everything about Tacos and Beer is 100% me.
It's a fantastic answer. Fantastic
Yeah.
answer there. Okay. Do you know what our mascot's name is?
Is Roar? Is Roar?
You got the R right.
Is Roomy?
There we go,
Roomy.
Carlos.
Roomy,
Yes,
I knew it.
sir.
I just had to rhyme it out a
Yes,
little.
right. There we go.
Yeah.
Man, 2 for 2.
Yeah.
A solid start, Carlos. A solid start. Okay, now
Good.
you finished with 15 rushing touchdowns this year. That is the second most in school history. Can you name the guy who you did not beat for that record?
Honestly, I'm gonna have to say no, because the way I found out that I had that record, it was a crazy situation. Like, I'll tell a quick story. Pretty much after the press conference after the Sanford game, we're all in the elevator. You know, the guys are talking or whatever, and then someone asked, you know, how did you finish out? He was like, oh, second in school history. And then, you know, everybody just glanced at me. Like, oh, that's cool. Like, I didn't know that. So yeah, that's crazy. But I'm gonna have to do my research on that. I gotta know.
All right. Well, I'll let you know. Do you want to guess what position he played? Let's do that.
What position he played? I'm gonna say he had to play like fullback or something like that.
Played quarterback.
Quarterback
With 16 rushing touchdowns. Brian Bennett is the only guy you didn't beat. So look,
shout out Brian Bennett.
not bad, not a bad guy to finish second behind. Now, you finished as the leading rusher this year. Do you know who finished as the leading rusher the year before you?
Cole Kelly.
Yes, sir. All right, very good. I thought that was going to trip you up. You know, quarterback, tough to answer there.
Yeah, I missed the first quarterback one, so I had to get the next one.
Exactly. Look, you're still 75% here. Now, this is not a question you get wrong. I'm just curious. You know, we're on this trend of quarterbacks. There's plenty of high school quarterbacks on the roster who are playing different positions. Who would you trust the most in an emergency quarterback situation on this roster?
Emergency quarterback situation. Honestly, just because the guy can do everything, I'm gonna have to say Jesse Britt, man.
He can do everything.
Yes, like stuff he could play the piano. I've never would have thought that. Like, he's crazy.
Now, my follow-up to that is, who would you trust the least? It can be anybody on the team.
Least for quarterback, I would have to say, let me see who I seen throw a ball one day. Man, I would have to say, I don't like how he throws. I'm trying to think who's left-handed. I was trying to think. Oh man, I have one who cannot throw at all is Joseph Wilson, and also in the running back room. He can.
You see, all right. So Joseph Wilson, he's from Shreveport. I live in Shreveport now, so that hurts me a little bit. But I'll let the Calvary people know that Joseph did not pick up that.
Arm, man. Joe, he don't got the arm. He got everything else, but he don't got the arm.
So, Carlos, man, 1 year in Hammond, but you have embraced the school and you've embraced the program. And so, you know, you're going to wind up being New Hampshire and Southeastern at the next level. And what does Southeastern mean to you? And, you know, in your final year eligibility, you know, you come to another FCS program and we get back to the playoffs. And so what is Southeastern going to wind up meaning to your football legacy?
Southeastern is going to mean everything to me, honestly. Southeastern, you know, I obviously never lost love for the game, but it made me more excited about the game being down here. You know, just the being around the competitors I was around, you know, it was competition day in and day out. So I had to bring my best every day, you know. So
Yeah.
I brought out everybody's best. You know, I think that really allowed us as a team to, you know, go as far as we did, you know. Obviously nobody wanted it to end early. Nobody wanted it, you know, to end that way. But as a senior, you know, over time it hurts, but I wouldn't want it any other way.
Man, and look, it was such a fun run, such an awesome run, and can't thank you enough for it. Couple more questions for you, just as someone who's curious.
Yep.
Favorite place to play that you played during your college career besides Strawberry Stadium? That's an easy answer.
Right.
Can't say New Hampshire either.
Okay.
Coolest atmosphere you played in?
All right. The coolest atmosphere I played in, honestly, I would say it had to be down here when we went to FAU. Like obviously
Okay.
the game didn't go how we wanted it to go, but
Yeah.
as far as like a game day atmosphere and how they were going crazy with the lights and everything, it was kind of cool. I'll give it to them. It was kind of cool.
100%. 100%. And then my last one for you, Carlos. You got to pick one. You got to pick one favorite game or play from Southeastern. What's going to go down as the story you're telling 30 years from now? That was my favorite moment at Southeastern.
Walk-off win, easy.
Yeah.
Walk-off win. That was a game. That was a game right there.
Okay. I'll ask you this then. Do you know what they were doing defensively? Because I'm watching it. I was watching it. I'm just like, where's the secondary? It's like unbelievable.
It seemed like they tried to run like some type of like Tampa 2, but you know, the corner, I don't think his technique was sound on that play. And it didn't also help that the safety slipped. So hey, we'll take it every day.
Yes, sir. One of the all-time great moments in Southeastern history. When do you start preparing now for the draft? When does that process begin? When is pro day? And also, you know, now there's all these other leagues out there. What is that process like? Have you looked into that yet?
Well, I'm actually going through that process. Well, beginning that process right now as we speak. You know, it's obviously as I go through the process. You know, I'm gonna just go as it goes, and you know, just learn within the process. But I'm gonna start praying. Wow, I'm always praying, but
it's always look, it's always good to pray. You can't do enough praying.
I'm gonna start training in January, and I believe pro day will be towards like the end of March, early May, sometime around there. And yeah, I'm gonna just try to enjoy the process. You know, just taking one day at a time and let everything work itself out.
Yes, sir. It always does. Carlos, thank you, man. Thank you for everything you did for the program. And thank you for the time today. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you. Thank you again. Lining up for life, man.